أنا دكتور خالد وليد، ربان سفينة النجاة إلى شواطئ بكة القدس. I am Dr. Khaled Waleed, the captain of the ship of salvation to the shores of Baka, Jerusalem.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we take specialized research in theological texts, and we look for the surprising scientific blueprints hidden inside. Today's Deep Dive is going to fundamentally challenge how you might understand energy, consciousness, and even speed. We'll be using a highly precise linguistic framework drawn from sacred texts.
It really is a different way of looking at things.
Absolutely. We are stepping into territory that takes familiar spiritual terms, things like jinn and ins, and subjects them to a really radical re-engineering based on precise Arabic derivation.
Yeah, this isn't your standard commentary at all. It's more like establishing a scientific lexicon, a specific vocabulary.
And we need to be super clear right from the start.
Definitely. This entire discussion, the definitions, the interpretations of time relativity we're about to explore, it's all based solely on the unique perspective and the, extensive scholarly framework developed by Dr. Khaled Waleed from Almighty Covenant at YouTube.
Right. He's the source for this entire approach.
Exactly. And his core assertion is that the language of the text provides a complete sort of dualistic structure for understanding the universe. Mm-hmm. But we lose that structure if we translate loosely, if we aren't precise.
So our mission today is to explore that structure.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Waleed calls it the balance of duality.
Mm-hmm.
On one side, we have ilm al-Qua, the knowledge of power, and on the other, ilm al-Idrak, the knowledge of perception.
Two distinct types of knowledge.
And we're going to see how the, let's say, competition between these two forms of knowledge completely redefines how we think about time and physical movement.
Precisely. And the perfect test case for this theory is a really famous narrative, almost like a scientific challenge, tucked away in the Quranic text.
The story of King Solomon and the throne.
That's the one. Requesting the immediate transfer of the Queen of Sheba's, enormous throne. In this framework, that story isn't just a contest of brute magic or miracles in the typical sense.
It's more like a lab.
It's a laboratory, yeah, for contrasting two entirely separate forms of physics.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the vocabulary, right?
Absolutely critical.
Because if we don't lock down these definitions, like you said, the rest of the analysis it doesn't hold together.
It falls apart. Dr. Waleed identifies 6 specific terms. And these are terms constantly mixed up in translation or used interchangeably when they shouldn't be.
And he argues keeping them separate is the key.
It's the key to unlocking the scientific layer of the text.
Got it. So surgical precision with the Arabic.
Exactly. These 6 terms, they basically divide the universe into categories.
Yeah.
The psychic soul, the material body, and the general state of visibility or hiddenness.
Okay, let's start with the soul duality. Because Dr. Waleed insists that's where the biggest misunderstanding happens.
It really is foundational. So the first duality is the soul itself. We have al and ans. Now, this is defined not as a human being or species.
Which is how most people probably understand it.
Right. Instead, it's specifically the male soul aspect, or dhakar nafsi in Arabic.
The male soul.
In this framework, think of it as the aspect of consciousness linked to perception, awareness, realization.
Okay, and its counterpart?
Its fundamental counterpart is al-jinn, defined as the female soul, and the nafsiya, the
female soul.
And this is the psychic energy linked specifically to, let's say, terrestrial power and force. The ability to act, to generate movement, to make things happen energetically.
Okay, hold on. That's a staggering redefinition, because when most people hear jinn, they think of, external beings, right? Mm-hmm. Spirits, sometimes mischievous, sometimes powerful, but outside of us.
Exactly, like creatures.
But you're saying, based on Dr. Waleed's work, jinn and ins are actually the two dualistic components of a single internal psyche, the female and male energies within the soul.
Precisely. The shift is from external mythology, if you will, to internal energetic consciousness. When Dr. Waleed delves into the linguistic roots, the word al-jinn comes from a root meaning to cover, to hide, or to veil. And linguistically, the female soul is often described as that veiled or hidden aspect of the psyche. It's the core engine, you could say, of interactivity and energy.
But I have to ask the question that someone listening might have right now. If we accept this radical redefinition, how does Dr. Waleed account for the vast body of, traditional stories and literature that very clearly depicts the jinn as independent, separate, external entities, entities that can interact physically, sometimes even harmfully, with humans. That seems like a major hurdle.
That's an excellent and absolutely essential challenge. Dr. Waleed's argument would be that those traditional depictions, the folklore, the later theological interpretations, they arose precisely because this linguistic precision was lost over time.
So misunderstanding crept in.
Essentially, yes. By confusing al-jinn, the female soul aspect, with a different term, al-jannah, which we'll get to, meaning the realm of the unseen, the concept of internal, potent, hidden energy got externalized. It became an independent thing out there. His methodology prioritizes the root meanings in the language and the specific context within these Quranic narratives over those, post-textual interpretations or folklore.
Understood. So it's about going back to the source language with extreme precision.
Exactly.
Okay, so the soul has its dualities. Ins, male soul perception, and jinn, female soul power. Now, let's move to the physical, the body and its energy.
Right. That brings us to the second pair of terms. We have al-insan. This is defined as the material body, al-atam al-madadiya.
So insan is the physical vessel, flesh and bone, subject to gravity, mass, all that.
Correct. The physical structure.
And its counterpart.
Its energetic counterpart, the immediate energy field associated with that body, is al-adan. This means the energy of this body, al-taqiya.
Notice the slight difference in spelling and sound there. Jinn, soul versus yan. Body energy.
Very important distinction. Al-Anjan is the raw, measurable, physical energy output available to the body. Think horsepower or caloric energy potential.
Okay, so let me recap this. We have ins, male soul, and jinn, female soul, as the sort of blueprint for consciousness.
Yeah.
And then al-insan, physical body, and al-jan, body energy, are the physical manifestation and its tangible, measurable power output.
You got it. It establishes a really clean four-part system. Male soul, female soul, physical body, body energy.
It's quite elegant, actually.
It is. It's a beautifully nested system. And finally, there are the two broader terms that define visibility.
Right.
We have anas, seifo. This refers generally to all physical beings, the visible creations, amakhlukat al-dahira. This is basically the visible manifestation of al-insan, what we can see and interact with physically.
People, animals, physical things we see.
Generally, yes, the apparent world.
And its counter.
Its counter is al-jannah,
Yeah.
defined as the unseen beings, or more accurately, the hidden realm, al-makfiyah.
Okay, and here again we have that critical linguistic difference. Jinn, the female soul, versus al-jannah, the unseen realm.
Absolutely crucial. One is an internal state of being, a psychic component. The other is a location or maybe a category of existence that is hidden from normal sight.
And if you treat them as the same word, as often happens,
Then the entire distinction collapses. The difference between internal psychic power, jinn, and the external unseen world, jannah, just gets blurred into one confusing concept.
wow, okay. The significance of this precise taxonomy, this vocabulary then, is that the contest we're about to analyze, moving the throne, it's not just creatures showing off.
Not at all.
It's a dualistic competition. The male soul of perception, aligns, versus the female soul of power, aligns, each trying to manifest maximum speed within their corresponding energetic fields and laws.
And that takes us directly to the core concept Dr. Waleed builds, the balance of duality. We're shifting now from linguistics into physics.
The physics of effort versus the physics of consciousness. Let's transition into that scientific duality now, this split between the science of power and the science of perception, it sounds like two separate operating systems running in the same universe.
That's a great way to put it. They are indeed like separate operating systems, and critically, each is governed by its own ultimate speed limit.
Okay, tell us about the first one, power.
The first is the science of power, ilm al-Qua. Now, this system is associated conceptually with alam anar, the world of fire.
Fire, symbolizing what?
Intensity. Intensity, measurable energy, exertion, effort. It relates to terrestrial psychic energy, an-nafsiyya, the energy rooted in the jinn soul aspect. And its ultimate physical limitation, according to Dr. Waleed's analysis of the text, is terrestrial sound speed. Al-Sura, al-Satiyya, al-Ardiyya.
Sound speed, not light speed.
Terrestrial sound speed, because it's tied to the psychic energy operating within the physical terrestrial domain. It's about maximizing force and speed within the bounds of Earth-based physics, even if that speed is immense.
So it requires Judet effort, measurable time. You're maximizing distance traveled over time using immense force.
Precisely. It relates to measurable movement. It involves folding distances, as the text says, but by physically traversing them very, very quickly using this fierce, fiery energy. Critically, it still involves motion through space and time.
Okay, that's power. Now, the other side,
The
perception.
The second world, or operating system, is the science of perception, ilm al-idrak. This knowledge is associated with alam al-kitab, the world of the book, with an-nur, light, and with awai al-samawi, heavenly consciousness.
That sounds different, almost instantaneous. If the first system is limited by terrestrial sound speed, what's the speed limit here?
Well, its speed is realization itself. It operates through instantaneous knowledge. Movement here isn't measured by distance or effort,
But by
pure consciousness. Think the speed of thought, or perhaps more accurately, the speed of information transmission or actualization. It's operating in a field that seems to be beyond conventional terrestrial speed limits.
This raises a really important question, maybe for you, the listener, as well. If we link the jinn, female soul, to power, fire, sound, speed, and the ins, male soul, to perception, light, and instantaneous speed, does this imply some kind of structural hierarchy? Is the female soul inherently limited to physical effort, while the male soul gets the superior spiritual instantaneous knowledge? That could sound problematic.
It's a crucial point, and Dr. Waleed is explicit about this. He frames it as a balance, a necessary duality, not a valuation of inherent superiority, except in the specific context of achieving maximum speed for manifestation. The female soul, Al-Jinn, represents the dynamic, the acting, the energy-generating component. It's the aspect that enables movement and physical action in the world. It's essential.
The engine.
The engine, yes. While the male soul, Al-Lins, represents the stable, the comprehending, the perceiving component, the aspect that enables instant realization, understanding.
The story isn't male versus female.
No, the story of Solomon, in this interpretation, is not a contest between genders. It's a test case, a demonstration, designed to show that the physics of knowledge inherently transcends the physics of action when it comes to collapsing time and space.
That distinction really clarifies the stakes. So the competition isn't just about who's stronger, but it's like optimizing the fastest possible car, power, versus just teleporting or collapsing the destination into the starting point, perception.
That's an excellent summation, an excellent analogy. And this brings us right to that critical scene in Surah An-Naml.
Right. King Solomon is sitting, he's got guests arriving, important people coming in submission.
And he needs this massive symbolic throne belonging to the Queen of Sheba, who is miles and miles away, brought to him immediately, like right now.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
So Solomon poses the challenge to his assembly. Which of you, he asks, will bring me her throne before they come to me, submitting? He needs the ultimate undeniable feat of speed and power, a demonstration.
And the first challenger steps up. The text identifies him as Ifrit, from the jinn.
Right. And following Dr. Waleed's framework, this Ifrit embodies Iblis representing the female soul, Antha aspect, possessing the maximum possible terrestrial power associated with fire and sound speed physics.
Okay, and what's Ifrit's offer? How fast can she, representing the female soul power, do it?
Ifrit's offer defines the time of action. I will bring it to you before you rise from your place. Qabla an taqum min maqami.
Before you rise from your place. What does that mean duration-wise?
Now, this is where the linguistic interpretation has to be really rigorous. Dr. Waleed argues strongly that rising from your place isn't just getting up from a chair for a moment. It's a clear, idiomatic reference to the full length of a professional session, a workday, the duration of the king's court, or administrative function.
All right.
He meticulously estimates this, based on context and historical parallels, as approximately 8 full hours. Thaman sat Kamila.
Wait a second. How can Dr. Waleed be so confident about exactly 8 hours for rising from your place? Is there specific textual support for that number, or is that more of a calculation needed to make the relativity model work clearly?
It's primarily a calculation rooted in the context. The idea is it needs to represent the maximum duration of that kind of official session. He derives it by analyzing references to judicial and administrative sessions in ancient Near Eastern contexts. These typically span significant daylight hours, often broken into something like 8-hour blocks before the main business concluded for the day.
So it couldn't be just a few minutes.
Exactly. If it were just a matter of minutes, the challenge would be trivial, almost meaningless. Setting it at 8 hours establishes the plausible pinnacle of what effort-based speed the science of power could achieve over that distance. It sets the benchmark.
Got it. Okay.
Oh.
So Iblis Ifrit, using her fiery energy, Takanariya, promises to perform Te al-Masafat, the folding of distances across maybe continents, in 8 hours.
Yes. Achieved through immense concentrated effort, operating at the absolute highest level of measurable effort-based speed known within that system. This is the ultimate limit of time measured by action.
8 hours. Still incredibly fast for moving a massive throne that far, but it takes the whole working day.
Precisely. And she guarantees it with her strength, Qawi, and trustworthiness, Amin. The mission will be completed at the fastest possible pace achievable through material force and movement.
But then, the second challenger steps forward. And this figure isn't even named initially, just referred to as the one with knowledge of the book.
A very significant description.
And Dr. Waleed identifies him as Idris, representing the male soul, Dakar aspect, the embodiment of heavenly consciousness and perception.
Yes, and Idris basically dismisses the 8-hour time frame as irrelevant. His offer operates on a completely different scale of time, the time of pure realization.
What does he offer?
He says, I will bring it to you before your gaze returns to you, kabla an yartada ilaika tarfuka.
Before your gaze returns to you.
Which is universally understood linguistically and physiologically as the time required for a blink of an eye.
Okay, wow. So we're talking, what, 100 to maybe 400 milliseconds?
Something in that range, yes. This is the time of perception.
Compare that to Ifrit's 8 hours. 8 hours of dedicated maximum physical and energetic effort versus literally the flutter of an eyelash.
The difference is, well, it's astronomically incomprehensible in conventional terms.
It really drives home the relativity point.
It's the moment the throne is physically established before Solomon. A blink after Idris makes the statement, poof, it's there. And the method used is the absolute key.
How did he do it?
Idris isn't moving the throne through space and time in the way Ifrit would have. He's operating purely on the knowledge level, causing time itself to fold, or perhaps become irrelevant. The text uses this fascinating analogy, Kadi al-Sijil lil Kutub,
Which means?
like the folding up of a scroll or register for the books contained within it. Or maybe like turning a page in a register.
Okay, that analogy needs a bit more unpacking. What does turning a page or folding a scroll mean for physics in this context?
Well, think about it. It implies that distance, location, it's all stored like information within a book or a scroll. If you possess the key knowledge of the book, you don't need to travel the distance linearly, reading every word on the page between here and there.
You just skip to the right page.
You simply skip to the chapter or turn to the page where the item is already present at the destination. It's like the instantaneous realization or actualization of the destination state. It completely bypasses the need for sequential time steps for travel.
The throne is transferred at the speed of consciousness, not the speed of matter.
Exactly.
So let's crystallize this. The science of power, Iblis female soul, is governed by Veded, effort, and has a maximum speed related to terrestrial limits, maybe sound speed, resulting in an 8-hour time frame.
Correct.
While the science of perception, Idris' male soul, is governed by ilm, knowledge, and operates at an instantaneous speed, manifesting in 400 milliseconds.
Yes. And this, according to Dr. Waleed, is the definitive proof of time relativity presented within the text itself. Time experienced through physical action is just vastly, massively slower than time experienced through consciousness and knowledge.
It's the ultimate comparison, isn't it? The absolute fastest form of physical, effort-based speed folding distances across the known world is just utterly, completely defeated by the realization that space and time are fundamentally collapsible fields accessible through knowledge.
It shows knowledge isn't just abstract, it's operational. It does things.
Let's broaden this out now, synthesize it, because Dr. Waleed doesn't just leave these concepts as abstract physics, he ties them to other things, like celestial phenomena, right? Embedding this duality into the heavens.
That's right, yeah. The power versus perception duality finds a mirror, he argues, in the primary light sources described.
How so?
Iblis, representing the jinn power aspect, is associated with al-shura. This term relates to solar illumination, the sun.
Okay, the sun? Forceful, visible.
Exactly. The sun is the source of active, forceful, visible energy. It requires immense output, constant fusion, fire, incredible effort just to illuminate and maintain the material world. Its power manifests.
Makes sense. And Idris, perception.
Idris, representing the ins-perception aspect, is associated with al-mashar. This relates to lunar illumination, the moon.
The moon? Reflective, quiet?
Reflective, quiet, knowledge-based light. Crucially, the moon doesn't generate its own force, its own fire. It reflects a higher, pre-existing light, which in this symbolic context could be seen as the the light of the book, the light of knowledge.
Ah, I see the parallel.
The moon represents pure reflection, realization, and that operates instantaneously because it requires no internal effort to produce the light, only the capacity to receive and manifest it.
Wow. That cosmological connection then sets the stage for the actual physical location of this whole event. You mentioned the sources suggest this duality plays out across a specific, vast sacred geography.
Yes, a geography which also defines the immense distance Ifrit would have had to cover in those 8 hours.
We need to ground this physically for the listener. You said it involves a duality of east versus west.
That's the framework presented. On one side, in the east, we have Mecca al-Batra, the petrified Mecca. What does that represent?
It represents the origin point of the journey, conceptually, the seat of terrestrial power, action, effort. It's associated with that solar, fire-based energy of Iblis, the starting point requiring the 8 hours of travel.
Okay, east is power action start. And this is contrasted with
Baka al-Quds in the west. This location is identified as the station of Abraham, the station of the prophets, and critically, the precise location where King Solomon was actually sitting when he received the throne.
So that's the destination, Baka al-Quds, the holy place. Yes. And it's linked conceptually to reflection, knowledge, and that lunar light of Idris. It's the destination where perception, that instantaneous realization, manifests. Dr. Waleed specifically places Solomon's assembly here, possibly at the furthest symbolic boundaries of Al-Masjid al-Haram, which historically carried the name Al-Masjid al-Aqsa.
The furthest mosque.
Yeah.
Meaning the furthest point of material travel, perhaps.
Exactly. The furthest point reachable by conventional means, yet paradoxically the very starting point for instantaneous perception.
This geographical specificity is fascinating. It creates the physical boundary that Ifrit's 8 hours of sound speed travel needed to bridge. What anchors this vast journey between east and west? Is there a center point?
There is. The center point dividing east, power fire, and west, perception light, is identified as the Dead Sea, referred to in the texts as Al-Yam, the Great Sea or body of water.
The Dead Sea is the midpoint.
And this area is surrounded by, or leads to, the holy valley of Tuwa. Tuwa is described as being strategically located between Mount Sinan in the east, Al-Ayman, which is associated again with power and maybe fire, and Mount Sinai in the west, Al-Garbi, famously associated with divine revelation, the reception of knowledge.
So the physical geography itself frames the entire metaphysical challenge. It's not just random locations.
Not at all. Iblis had to physically cross or fold this vast, spiritually charged expanse in 8 hours of intense effort. While Idris simply made the distance irrelevant through knowledge operating at the speed of thought, manifesting the throne at Baka al-Quds instantly.
Incredible. Okay, so the throne appears instantly, blink of an eye. Solomon sees it. And he doesn't just say, wow, thanks, or celebrate the power. He makes a very specific declaration.
He does. He says, "This is from the favor of my Lord to test me whether I am grateful or ungrateful."
That declaration seems like the final piece of the puzzle in this interpretation.
It really is. So what does this all mean? The interpretation of shukr, gratitude, or thanks in this specific context becomes profound.
It's not just saying thank you for a cool trick.
No. Dr. Waleed interprets shukr here as the realization, the deep appreciation of the beauty and wisdom found in the structural difference between these two speeds, these two physics.
Appreciating the duality itself.
True gratitude in this light is recognizing the existence and the purpose of this dualistic universe. You need the physics of action, Ifrit power. It exists, it has its role, it needs to be maximized within its own laws. But you also must recognize that the physics of perception, Idris's knowledge, is inherently functionally superior for instantaneous manifestation.
So the event wasn't just about getting a throne quickly. It was a test.
A test of whether Solomon truly understood and appreciated the hierarchy, that knowledge ultimately transcends brute force or even the fastest physical effort.
The knowledge of the book is the ultimate accelerator.
That's the implication. And notice the two forces, the female soul of power and the male soul of perception, they don't ultimately meet in conflict or struggle.
They meet where?
They converge in the unified field of knowledge. In al-ilm. The purpose of the whole demonstration, arguably, was to elevate consciousness and understanding above mere physical exertion, however impressive that exertion might be.
So the source material, interpreted this way, provides almost a scientific justification for prioritizing realization, for insight.
It suggests that if the greatest speed, the collapsing of time and space, is achieved not by generating the fastest material movement, but by possessing the highest, most relevant knowledge, then maybe our usual hierarchy of effort needs rethinking.
Okay, let's try and summarize this really profound deep dive into Dr. Khaled Waleed's work. It seems absolutely essential to anchor ourselves back to those 6 initial linguistic distinctions he makes.
Definitely.
Jinn and ins are soul states, the female and male psyche components fundamentally linked to power and perception, respectively. They are not just external creatures.
Correct. And insan and jan are the physical body and its measurable energy output, while nas and jana are the visible world and the unseen realm. Keeping those separate is step 1.
And this precise vocabulary allows us to really grasp the radical relativity of time demonstrated in Solomon's challenge. We see the time of action Iblis is 8 hours, maximizing terrestrial sound speed and sheer effort.
Being utterly dwarfed, made almost insignificant by the time of perception Idris's 100 to 400 milliseconds, operating at the instantaneous speed of consciousness and knowledge derived from the book.
It paints a picture of the universe as, well, a book of dualities, as you said, where the ultimate speed, the ultimate efficiency is achieved through internal cognitive realization, not external material force.
That's the core takeaway from Dr. Waleed's perspective. The universe has these 2 faces, one physical scientific based on power and action, one energetic cognitive based on perception and knowledge, like 2 sides of a single reality.
Which brings us back to the question of relevance for us, for you listening. If the time of consciousness, the time of perception, is demonstrated as the fastest measurable reality within this specific framework, how should we as individuals maybe adjust our daily approach to what we call work? We tend to measure success by ilm al-quad, don't we? By the hours logged, the effort expended, the physical output, the 8-hour session, metaphorically speaking.
We do. Timesheets, productivity metrics based on action.
But if instantaneous manifestation, the collapsing of time, is truly achieved through ilm al-idrak, through pure internal knowledge and realization, how much time and energy are we potentially wasting by focusing only on the movement, the effort, the running faster?
Instead of perhaps prioritizing the insight, the understanding, the shift in perception that makes the destination, well, instantaneous.
Is the true path to efficiency and speed maybe found in focusing more on cultivating that internal knowledge, the kind that turns the page of reality, rather than just trying to run faster and harder across the existing map?
It's a powerful question to ponder, isn't it? Especially as we measure out our own working days and efforts.
A very powerful question indeed.
Indeed.
We'll leave you to explore that thought. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
أنا دكتور خالد وليد ربان سفينة النجاة إلى شواطئ بكة القدس. I am Dr. Khaled Waleed, the captain of the ship of salvation to the shores of Baka, Jerusalem.